In Reaper, you can create your own effects chains, which will allow you to route various effects in different orders to give different types of sounds. And you can also automate various parameters and controls in a variety of different ways, which will also create completely different effects and sounds. So you can create some unique and different sounds which you can then just save yourself as an effects chain. So once you've created some of these, I'm going to go through and give you some examples of the kind of things you can do. So once you've created a new one, you can just go to effects here and do save effects chain, and then when you open up another track again, you can just right click on the effects there, go to your saved effects chains, and you'll see I've got a whole load of ones I've saved here. And then this will just bring back the whole series of all the different plugins you've chosen and the different routing orders and the automation and just everything. So for these examples, I've just decided to use free stuff for absolutely everything. So they're all guitar examples as well. I have got some other Reaper videos which do similar things with, say, drums and keyboards and other instruments, which I'll show you later. But for this, these are just all guitar examples. So I'm using a free neural amp modeler. So if you haven't come across this, it's sort of like a software version like Kemper, different modelers. It's free. There's a huge range of stuff you can download for free. The website here is I'll put the links to everything I'm using in the description so you can get it yourself. So you can go to neuralampmodeler.com. You can download it for free. And then I'm using two different clean amps. So these are both by Tim R. So you can download this from Tone Hunt. This is Roland Jazz Chorus, which I'm using for some of these examples. And then the other one I'm using, which is a slightly brighter one, which better suits some other tracks a bit better, is the Fender Twin Pack. So yeah, so if you haven't tried that, definitely check those out. So I'm also using, with these, the impulse response, I'm just using the same one for all of them, which is a free one from ML Sound Lab. It's the best IR in the world. I couldn't be bothered to just go through and use try out different IRs. So I just use the same one throughout. And I know this is one which just works. It works well for both distorted and clean sounds. And it's a go-to impulse response, which is free. So I definitely recommend that one. And then for the different effects plugins I'm using all my own ones, the WitchPig ones. So if you haven't come across those before, you can go to WitchPig websites here. There's a whole load of plugins, presets, instruments as well. So you've got all these different ones. So I'm using this one in the demo as well. That one, the Angel Dust one, and that one. This is a Contact instrument. This is for Contact player, so you don't need the full version of Contact. Various different ones here. I'm using that one as well. Guillotine basically chops up the signal. It's another Contact instrument. I'm using this one in the demo, Chorus Flanger. And then you've got various other different plugins and instruments, and also some presets. I've also got some Reaper tutorials in which I'm using these as well. I'm using Reaper as the DAW in all of these. So I do some examples of these, some different ones. I'll show you some of these. I'll give you an idea of some of these later as well. So right. What I'm going to do is I've got 5 different examples. I'm going to start off with quite simple ones and then just show the different way and the different order they can work. So with this one, it's just going straight into Neural Amp Modeler, out to Angel Dust, and then out to Gravity Granular Reverb. So I found that with the Angel Dust, different presets worked better than others. The default one works quite well, but also this Fallen one is this is basically a pitch shifter with delay and stuff in it as well. But I'm not using any of the pitch shifting on this original one, so you've just got the pitch L. The pitch R is on 0. And then I should mention as well that some of these plugins actually combine various effects in themselves. So you've got pitch shifter for left channel, pitch shifter for right channel, which can be different. And then you've got a delay in this. And then you've also got a modulated delay. So I'm going to mention LFOs later on when I'm showing some of the automation, but this has got an LFO built into it. So all this does is it changes the filter slightly on the delays, so it moves it forward. So like on a wah pedal, when you move it up and down, you're basically applying a filter and you're changing where the filter is applied on the signal, the frequency where the filter is applied. This is doing it, but quite subtly on the delay, just the delays itself, but that just gives an extra dimension, an extra feel to it. And then on this one here, gravity granular reverb, this is basically working like an algorithmic reverb in that it basically chops up the signal into lots of little delays and then diffuses them and then sends some of them back around again. So you create a reverb type effect. But what it's doing slightly differently is it allows you, using these controls here, to chop it up into bits of pieces. So it's not being applied consistently. So it gives you a kind of a glitchy, weird reverb, which you're not going to use for everything, but it's an interesting effect. So what I'll do is I'll just put these into bypass and I'll just play you a little bit of a clean signal, and then I'll show you what it sounds like going through one after another. And then after this, I'll gradually get more complicated with each one, with the different routing and the different automation. So this has got no automation, it's just going straight through. So this is what it sounds like, just a little bit of clean guitar I'll play, and then I'll add this, and then I'll add this. Okay, now with Angel Dust, with no pitch shifting on it. And now with probability drive setting on the gravity granular reverb. Okay, so for the next one, what I'm going to do is on this one, I've done the panning a bit differently. So what I've done is I've done it so you only hear one bit on one side, one effect on one side, on the left side, and one effect on the other side. So wait for this to load. So if you look at you can do the routing here. If you click on it here where it says 2 in, 2 out, which would be the standard one. Now what would normally happen is you'd have the left in and the left out on here on the routing. This has just got 2 channels. I'll get a bit more complicated in a bit, but this is just doing it to each side. So what this means is on this plugin here, on the Angel Dust, it's only coming out the left. And then on this one, on the Guillotine, it's only coming out the left on that one, and it's only coming out the right on the other. So I'm splitting it up on either side, so you've got different effects on different sides. So it's Guillotine one here. It's basically, well, you'll see it when you'll see the histogram when it moves across, it chops up the signal. So it's chopping it up into 16 bits. So on this to start with, you've got the delayed signal and with a bit of modulation on it, and then on here it chops up into signal, so it'd be on different sides. So what I'll do with this is I'll put it all the way over to the left, so you just hear the left side, and then I'll do a right side, so you're just hearing that, and then you can hear them together. Okay, so this is all the way to the left. Okay, so now I'm just going to shift this over all the way to the right. I'm just doing it on the pan here, so you're just going to be hearing it coming out of here, and then I'll do it together. Okay, now I can just double click this and then it'll be going out the left hand side for the angel dust and the right hand side for the guillotine. Okay, so the next example, what I'm going to do is do some automation. So I'm using another plugin here. I'm using Reducer one, which is a chorus and flanger one. And then I'm going in to this one after that, going into the angel dust. And this is on the default preset. So in the default preset, you'll notice it's got pitch 7 and R12. So pitch 7 means that it'll actually be a fifth harmony above, and then it'll be an octave above. On the right hand side, so you've got different pitch shifting on different sides combined with delay and a bit of modulation on that. And then you'll notice on here on the depth it's moving backwards and forwards, and it's moving backwards and forwards without even playing anything. So this is I'm using an LFO for this within Reaper. So it's slightly simpler if you're using the built-in Reaper effects. You don't have to do this bit, I've got to do it. But if you're using these plugins, if you're using any third-party plugins, what you have to do is you go to Trim, you find where the parameters are on here, and then click on Modulation here if you want to modulate them. And then this will pop up here. So I'll move this up a bit. So you'll notice on here, what I've done is I've got LFO clicked. And then actually what I haven't done yet is I haven't clicked on tempo sync. So this will do it in time to the BPM. So you can see the BPM, it's showing on here. So it's 120, it's just default. It's on a sine wave, it's going backwards and forwards. And I'll click on the tempo sync. You'll notice that slightly moved it. So this will go backwards and forwards in time to the actual beat of the music. You can change these in different ways, so it'll do slightly different direction, negative, but I'm keeping it on positive. I fiddled around with these, this sounds about right. And then, so actually what I can do is I'll do it without the modulation and then going it through. I'll turn it off just for a sec and I'll play it, and then I'll play it where it's got the LFO from the Reaper assigned to this control to move it backwards and forwards. How far it goes back and how fast it does it, you can change on the strength and speed. Remember to click the tempo sync to make it go in with the music. I'll play it without, so it's not moving now, and I'll play a bit and then I'll play it back with it on. Okay, now with the LFO back on, and you can see what it's doing. Okay, so I'm gradually get a bit more complicated with these as we go on. So in this one, I'm going to be doing a bit more complicated routing. And also, I'm going to be doing automation as well. So let's get this one up. We'll see what's going on here. Taking a bit to load up. So on the routing on here, you click on here, and I've changed it from being the default 2 track channels, which would be your stereo, to 4. So the way this is being routed is, instead of going from neural amp modeler into Black Mirror Reverb and then into Guillotine, what it's doing is it's going from, as well as going from it, partly it goes into, half of it goes neural amp modeler, Black Mirror Reverb, Guillotine, but it also goes from neural amp modeler directly into Guillotine, which will give you a different sound. So you're also getting the sound coming out at the end without it going into the Black Mirror Reverb before it gets into Guillotine. So the Guillotine is chopping it up, remember, and then I'll show you the other ones on these. Actually, I'll show you the routing on these, so you can see that's going straight into there, and then this one is coming out both. So yeah, so on here, the Black Mirror Reverb, this is like a distorted reverb. So again, this is like combining 2 different effects. So what I've done on this one as well is, I'll get this out of the way, you've got too much stuff going on, is I've automated the filter. You can see that it's a bit difficult to see, but it's moving backwards and forwards. So on here again, you click on the trim here, and you'll see it. Filter on tempo sync on the LFO. I'll leave that going down here, and then when you play this, I'll just play this how it is with the LFO on. You'll see that the filter, so this will be changing the tone across the spectrum, is changing, and part of this is going from the amp, from the NAM into this and straight out. Some of it, and half of it is going from the NAM into this and then into Guillotine. So I'll play this and then just see if you can see the filter being moved here backwards and forwards. So if you noticed on here, instead of seeing 2, you normally see the left-hand side and the right-hand side. You actually saw 4 peaks showing up because I'd routed the signal into 4 different routes. So you can do loads if you want, but just doing 4 there. So you see 4 lines going up and down there. Right, so the last one I'm going to show you on this one is, again, I'm using some different effects. I'm using this one, which is SPX Nevermore. So this is another one. Well, the idea of this is I wanted to do something which sort of this came out of a sort of debate on sound toys. I hadn't done anything for ages, so I wanted to do, people saying, well, what should they do next? So I thought it would be cool, like when I was learning to do all this stuff, if they did something which was like the symphonic preset and the SPX 90 Yamaha one, and do something like that. So I basically just did it myself, what I thought they should be doing. So yeah, so that's what this is. So it's kind of a sort of lower rate bit chorus flanger with quite a distinctive sound, but this is on a clanger, so this is like a really weird sound. So so on this one, I've got normal routing, just going neural amp modeler, going into here and then going out of here. Again, default, so pitch, so 5th on the left, up, and upper octave on the right. And I'm modulating with depth control, but I'm doing this in a different way. So I'm not using an LFO on this. I'll show you what I'm doing. So where's it gone? Here. So I click on here, and you'll notice on here, I'll move these up. And I'm doing this in a different way. So the LFO isn't selected, but what I've selected on this one is to do it side chaining. So what it will do is it will change this, move it up and down depending on the volume coming in from the neural amp modeler. So you can do like one left side, right side, or you can do both. I've done it on both. So when you do this, what you'll notice is you'll notice this going up and down because this is the signal coming into it, and then this will move the assigned control backwards and forwards as it goes louder. So this creates quite an interesting effect. So you'll see it. So yeah, just keep an eye on the depth and on here, and you'll see how that the input here is affecting the setting here. Okay, so hopefully that's given you some ideas of things you can try yourself. If you're not using Reaper, you're going to better do something similar yourself, where you can create your own effects change and then you just save them and then you can just bring them up again and do it. So it saves doing all the faffing about again. And every time you want a particular sound, you can just bring it up very quickly and very easily. Obviously, these examples have all been done just using guitar, just using simple clean guitar. You can do it with drums and you can do it with other things. If you want to have a look on here, I've also got like tutorial section on the WitchPig website. So this is just using stuff where I'm using WitchPig in there, and I'm using it within Reaper, and you can control different things on that. But I have also got on my YouTube channel, I've got a playlist for Reaper as well. So there's like 30 different videos in there. So on some of these, you've got ones you can extend it and do other stuff. So this is interesting if you want to try stuff. There's one, there's another video here on creating a guitar bus track template. So this is similar to an effects chain, apart from you create a whole template. So this one, you've got like maybe 5 different tracks. You can save it as 5 different tracks, and that has all the effects and the routing and the stuff built in as well, which is an extension on the effects chain. But you could create track templates with already pre-created effects chains in it, so you can build it all up. And then you could, once you've got a load of different track template, once you've got a different like track templates, you could then use it for a template for a whole project, and you could just create a project out of templates. So you can build it all up, so you don't have to keep creating things from scratch every time. So this one here, so this is doing an example in Reaper where I'm doing it on drums as well rather than guitar, and I'm using Siberian hamsters, like a distortion, like a rat type thing, plug-in, but I'm using that on drums, and I'm doing it another way. You can do routing differently, is you can run stuff in parallel. So you can have the signal going out to one track and then coming out of another, and then you can mix them in afterwards. So people quite commonly do that with compression. It's very common to do parallel compression, but parallel distortion also works really well. So you can try that with Siberian hamster. Another one where I'm doing different automation. So I'm using some LFO and I'm using some side chaining with different filters, and I'm just using the Reaper rear EQ to just apply to basically move across the filter, across the signal, to give like different types of wah-wah effects. So if you're interested in trying anything out, you can just do that without using any other plugins, just what's in Reaper. There's another one here on creating ambient effects change as well, which you might be interested in. And what else? Yeah, another one. I've got another one just using just dedicated to drum production tricks. So I'm doing some interesting effects and different styles on drums, but just using the free WitchPigs Rich Pig plugins. So yeah, so again, if you want to check out the Rich Pig ones, I've got plugins, presets, instruments. I've got a whole load of stuff on here. Yeah, check these out if you want. There's different videos, different tutorials, different styles. Yeah, hopefully you've got some ideas from this, things you want to try out yourself. Check out the site. You can download them for free. I haven't got the Mac yet for my newest one for the Angel Dust yet. Hopefully I'll have that soon. So yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks for watching. Cheers. Bye.